There are many reasons people leave their country. Some leave because they are searching for opportunity, some because they are escaping danger, others leave because they no longer recognize the country that they once believed in. Tonight, we're going to speak with an Israeli who has spent much of his life trying to bridge some of his country's deepest divisions. Dr. Hagai Agmon-Snir began his career in science, conducting neuroscience research at the U.S. National Institutes of Health. For more than 2 decades, he led the Jerusalem Intercultural Center. His work included bringing deeply divided communities into dialogue, training police in de-escalation, and developing practical ways for Jewish and Palestinian residents to navigate a shared city. Now, Dr. Agmon-Snir and his wife, Iris, have moved to Italy. They've left Israel, they say, for good. Dr. Agmon-Snir, it's good to have you with us on the program this evening. Last month, you spoke to the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, and you were quoted as saying, we want to bring that up. Yeah, you said, I think the situation here is hopeless, and we have to distance ourselves from this evil. If I could, I'd establish a movement for ideological immigration from Israel. We chose that, Doctor, because those are strong words, and maybe you could help us understand what exactly you mean there. What is the evil that you believe you must distance yourself from?
I think that Israel nowadays is facing a very hard movement inside it, which has a lot of evil in it. And October 7th and the Gaza war were making it much worse, but it started even before that. And it means that for many Israelis, the understanding that we need to make sure that it's good for everyone between the river and the sea, between the Jordan River and the sea. We are talking about 7 million Jews, 7 million Palestinians who live over there. And the current situation, which is practically an apartheid, it doesn't care what is the exact definition, but it's practically this is the situation. Most of the Israeli Jews do not understand how bad it is now in Gaza, in the West Bank, what is happening at this moment at the West Bank. And I don't see hope for this to change. Unfortunately, and I'm into this analysis for a lot of time, I think it's with us for many years to go.
Well, when you say that there's evil there that you want to escape, are you condemning the current government? Are you condemning Israel's conduct of the war? Or is there something deeper within Israeli society that you're talking about?
The government is a reflection of the society. And I want to make sure that we understand I'm criticizing my own people because I'm an Israeli Jew. And it's very important to me to speak about the people I belong to and what I think is not correct with them. But let's make sure we understand and understand the Palestinians are not better than us. They also have a lot of hate, a lot of racism, a lot of support for war crimes or terrorist crimes. It's on both sides. But I want to speak about my side. In my side, it's very hard and it's unsolvable, even if the Palestinians would have been deciding to stop all their wars against Israel. We don't know how to handle it with giving all the human rights to these people. So the problem is the Israeli society. There are many good Israelis around, but the society is very sick nowadays, unfortunately.
You've said that you can't force citizens to want democracy. What convinced you that too many Israelis no longer want democracy?
You know, most of the people in Israel, not most, but many people in Israel are waiting the elections of October, hoping that the coalition would lose and the opposition would win. Looking at the parliament, looking at the parties of the opposition, they are not much different than those of the coalition. They are better in some senses, I must admit, and they are very good for our privileges. You know, they will give us more rights as, you know, the privileged people in Israel. But generally, with the way they think about security, human rights, the Palestinians, the way to solve issues inside Israel, including the West Bank and Gaza, is not much different. So in this sense, I don't see how this can change by the election that are going to do anything to it.
Do you still believe, Doctor, that Israel can preserve its Jewish character while guaranteeing equal democratic rights to all of its citizens? I mean, if there were to be a reform in the country, which you would like to see, could Israel keep its Jewish qualities?
I truly believe the Jews are entitled to have the right to live in the Middle East, in Israel, even in the West Bank, and even in Jordan, if you would like it. You know, for many of the Jews, Jordan is a part of the historical place for Jews to be in, and it's okay. The question is how to do it in a way that doesn't make bad to the other people who live over there, and this is very hard. I think technically it can work, and even ideologically it may work, but I think that both sides, the Palestinian side and the Jewish Israeli side, are really not mature together. They cannot have the power and the trust, the mutual trust, to make this work well. And I don't care, I don't really understand nowadays, maybe 40 years ago I could understand better, what is the Jewish character of the state. I think Jews should have, if they live in the Middle East, they have a place that they can be good Jews, whatever it means for them to be good Jews, to have a community of Jews around them, to have everything that they need to this. Do they need a Jewish state formally? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It could be okay, but again, if it doesn't hurt other people around.
I'm wondering, Doctor, was there one moment when you decided, okay, this is not worth it? I mean, was it the October 7th Hamas attack? I mean, was there a point where you thought to yourself, it's just not going to work?
In fact, it was a year before October 7th. When I looked at the map of the election that happened in November 1st, 2022, and what I've seen over there is how many people supported at the religious settlements and the West Bank a party that, from my perspective, and it's hard for me to say it, but I will say it, it's a fascist party. You know, Umberto Eco have counted 14 properties of fascist movement. I always say that this group has 13. I didn't find the one that they don't have, but I want to be modest, okay? So maybe one they don't have. That means that practically we have running two parties today that are going to get more than 10%. The elections that are going to happen in October, that are practically fascist in all the propaganda. And I must say that in other parties, there are members of the parliament who are competing with that. In the Likud party is not a fascist party, by the way, but there are members of the Likud party who are practically aligning with the approach of the fascist parties over there.
Okay.
When I understood that 4 years ago, I understood that it's not avoidable where it goes from there.
Do you remember the conversation that you had with your wife, Iris, in which you finally said, we're leaving?
It was a process. We are working on it practically for 4 years in a process that took a while. We really thought that we may wait 7 or 8 years. In this sense, the October 7th and the Gaza war escalated the approach. We understood that we need to make it faster. Surprisingly, because I know other couples in the same thing, we agree very much with each other. We have our own nuances, but we are really on the same page on it. But it was a very long discussion between us, and we actually understood that it's very, very important. By the way, maybe it's a good point to say that there are many people like us that are now doing the same ideological movement or immigration from Israel. We came out and spoke about it, but many of the Israelis you meet abroad, this is the reason why they are there.
Are these friends of yours, people you know? I'm wondering what part of Israeli society is leaving now. I mean, is the country about to experience a workers' drain or a brain drain because people like yourself are leaving?
Okay, there's a great brain drain in Israel right now. Many of the people who are living because of the economy, living because of the feeling of being insecure, not because of ideological immigration reasons. But there are many people who are living because of ideological reasons, and mostly people who are well-trained, have higher degrees, etc. These are the people who are living in Israel nowadays.
There was a poll that was taken back in 2025. Maybe we can bring that graphic up. And it was on the topic of Israelis considering living abroad temporarily or permanently. And in this survey, they found that about 25% of Jewish Israelis say that they are considering moving. It was 39% among secular Jews. I mean, these are not insignificant numbers, but it will surprise a lot of people outside of Israel to see these numbers. Why do you think that this topic of ideological immigration is not getting more attention and press coverage? Why is the world so silent about it?
First of all, it's important for me to say that we know from our immigration is very, very hard to be done. Most of the people who say that they are considering living are not going to leave. There are many reasons because of which they cannot do this step and get out of the country. It's also the same as it happened in other countries where they were under fascist regime. Most of the people who wanted to leave could not leave for many reasons. And we are not a fascist country, but we are in the process and we know where it leads. I think that until now, it was more silent. People didn't want to speak about it. I think we made an outing with our getting out to Nir Hasson in Haaretz with it. And now, in the last few weeks, many people, at least in Israel, are speaking about this ideological immigration. Many people speak with us who did it much before us, and now telling us, you know, we did it before, and we were there.
You and your wife, you obviously have the money, you have the education, you have the means to leave. What do you say then to most Israelis who don't, and you know most Palestinians for that matter as well? They don't have the means to pick up and go somewhere else.
Okay, the fact that we are leaving doesn't influence them directly, and in fact, one of the things that I said again and again, and I see it even right now, is that I'm going to be activist even from here, and it's not going to be less influential than what I could have done in Israel. There's something interesting by doing this from abroad, and you can do things that you could not do before. I'm very sorry for so many people. Many of them are good friends of us, Israeli Jews and Palestinians, who are part of them Israeli, some of them are not. Would like to leave, they speak with us, and what can I say? You know, I would like to help them. Every one of them who comes here will get our support, but we cannot solve the problem. And definitely, we are privileged. It's very much correct, yes.
Doctor, let me ask you before we run out of time, what do you say to people who look at you and say, you're actually doing what the enemies of a democratic Israel want you to do? You're leaving. By leaving, you're giving the people the powers that you leave behind, that you're against. You're giving them even more power to turn the country into that which you say it's already becoming.
This is very much correct technically, but we are going to be in the elections, and we are going to be in any election that will be relevant as long as we will be allowed to get in the country. I hope it will be for a lot of time. We are going to impact the politics of Israel from inside, from the outside. Even this interview from our approach is a part of this activism. So we are going to do our part from outside and to support the people who are staying inside. I don't think that the people that are the enemy inside Israel against democracy are very happy about us leaving the country. Practically, what I hear from them, they are not happy about it.
Okay. Dr. Hagai Agmon-Snir, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and sharing your story with us. And let's talk again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.